Hi, Paulina. So I see that this is your last set of essays. Your exam is coming up in 2 weeks. So let's see what you did here and how close it looks like you are to getting that 7. Let's take a look. We've got the tea leaves here. Really? 232 words? Okay. Well, I know that this one has a lot of information. Let's see what you actually read, okay? The flowchart illustrates the production of 5 types of tea. Overall, it can be clearly seen that while the first stage is careful here is similar for all tea products, the number of stages vary from 3 for a white tea to 9 for the scented tea production. It is interesting to note that all 5 lines of manufacturing include the drying stage with some variations. Okay, that's nice. I like that. You didn't have to write all of that. You could have, I liked this. So anywhere between 3, I don't know why you got 9. I guess because you were counting the 5 here and then the 3 here. I don't know. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, okay. So I get that. So that's why. You could have just done a lot of different things that could have made your life a little easier. So you could have said, overall, it can be seen that the production of white tea is the simplest, and that of oolong is the most complex. Okay? Or you could have said that, and you could have said that all the tea types except for white are involved in the making of scented tea. So any of those would have been good. It's what you did is great, but I think maybe you could have left this out because it's really, for an overview, you had more than enough information with your own sentence right there. Let's go on. The raw ingredient of any tea flavor is green tea leaves, which are sorted and cleaned to be used in the various production stages. Thus, white tea could be produced by their steaming and drying. The withering stage with rolling and shaping, I would leave out the word manipulation, connects all other kinds of teas. Okay. However, for the green tea, it is not always typical. Green tea also differs from others as its production does not include any fermentation, which is important for oolong tea, short fermentation, and black tea, full fermentation. Whereas the stage of pan frying is similar for oolong and green, it is missing in black tea production. Okay. Finally, all 3 types of tea are dried, and a jasmine could be added to the green tea. Okay. On the other hand, scented tea could be produced utilizing final products of the previous process. What? Could be produced utilizing final products of the previous processes. Or it's a little overcomplicated, except the white tea. Thus, those kinds of tea are additionally dried, then scented with fruits or flowers, and finally cooled in order to produce a scented tea. Okay. My one concern here is this. I want to just double check. I feel like you kind of left out some information. It's true. You don't have to include everything. But let me see. Hold on one second. Let me just read it through again. So, okay, I read it through now like 2 or 3 or even 4 more times. I just want to make sure it was clear. It looks like you have all the main information. What it is that, you know what happens with this, Paulina? I always tell students that they should have as a goal to create a description where the person reading it can more or less visualize what it is you're looking at without having it in front of him or her. Okay, so that for me is like an ideally written task 1. Okay, when you can achieve that. You included all the information. What I found a little difficult was the fact that you like kind of flip-flopped here. Like, here's what you did. You talked about the green tea sorted and cleaned, and then you talked about oh, I'm sorry. No, you didn't. You talked about general tea leaves sorted and cleaned. Fine. Then you got rid of white tea, which I thought was a great idea. You talked about it and then you were done. Okay? Then you talked about this, but then you said, well, with green tea, it's not common. And then green tea differs like this. But then, then you've got fermentation. And then you went back to oolong and green, but it's missing from black. So I thought this was a little complicated. It's fine it was just a little complicated because in my mind, you know what I like to do? I'll give you an example. We don't actually have a sample of this, but I'll tell you how I would organize it. I would do exactly what you did with, actually, not exactly. What I would say is that for all four T-types, the first and last stages are common. So they're all sorted and cleaned first, and at the end, they all have some sort of drying process. White tea is the simplest of the four because the only step in between these two is steaming, and then you're done. The other three types, green, oolong, and black, share the next step, which is withering. Okay? And then you can say from here on, they have some sort of differentiation. You can say all three can be rolled, okay? But prior to rolling, for example, green tea is pan-fried, steamed, or fired. And then oolong's rolling is done in a basket, and black tea can also be cut, okay, instead of rolled. Then and then you're done. And then you can say the following step applies only for oolong and black, which is fermentation. Then you can say how it differentiates. And then only oolong has one additional step, which is pan frying prior to drying. Okay, so that's kind of how I would have done it. But I thought you did a nice job of this. Like I said, when I was trying to visualize it, while trying not to look at this, I had a little bit of a difficult time. I don't know if mine was necessarily easier, but I thought you did well. I thought you did well in general. Okay, I did. I thought you did very well with this. So let's move on and take a look at your tasks. Task 2. Okay. This is local governments moving to regional locations. Let's see what you said. Centralization of businesses in large cities. Okay, let's fix the grammar. The centralization of. Why? Because it's the of something. So the of centralization of businesses in large cities has been the case. Why? Because centralization is your subject. Has been the case from the advent of industrialization. Here, know the. Okay? Experts throughout the developed and developing world have debated that relocation of companies has been needed in order to ensure stability of employment and money flow in all regions. This essay will examine positive and possible negative consequences of this government action using examples from the UK government and Oxford University to demonstrate points and prove arguments. Okay. What is missing for me, this is why I kind of stumbled here. You said consequences of this governmental action. Yeah, but you never said that this was governmental. So you needed to say that because it just felt rather strange. So, relocation of companies mandated by the government has been needed. So something like that. Put the idea that this is the decision of government and not the individual companies, because then this makes sense, this governmental action. Okay, that was missing, and so it reduced the cohesive effect of this. Other than that, it's lovely. So let's move on. On the one hand, small towns and cities could obtain an opportunity of development. Okay, could obtain the opportunity to develop. Sounds better here. If more companies started their businesses there. You don't need a comma here. The central reason behind this is twofold. Firstly, it could create more jobs for local people who usually struggle to find a job in their hometown. Consequently, a secure employment would would prevent them, or maybe would keep them from moving to larger cities, which could be beneficial for both overpopulated metropolises and local communities. Secondly, the infrastructure and budget for rural areas would also benefit from new businesses as they bring more funds and investments to local governments. For example, recent research from Oxford University showed that operation of even a couple of large companies in a small community could increase its yearly budget by 20%. This is lovely. It's a good paragraph. Well done. On the other hand, such development could be unpleasant for many businesses because it could cost them a fortune, as well as the job market in cities could suffer from lack of job positions. This is largely because, no comma here, city businesses have settled their work process under the urban conditions, and reorganization could be expensive. I don't know what this means. Settled their work process? That's a little strange expression. could be expensive and unprofitable for them. For example, a recent survey from the UK government showed that some businesses would have moved to the regions if only a government had had any guarantee, careful with your spelling, that it would have been as profitable as in cities, which had rarely been the case. Okay. You never really tell us why it would be more expensive and unprofitable. I think that would be useful. All right, let's move on. In addition, competition for employment would only increase in cities if some organizations moved to regional locations, resulting in drastic unemployment without the A. In conclusion, although small communities could benefit from this governmental position, it could be disadvantageous for businesses as well as for inhabitants, inhabitants of large cities, not citizens. Careful. Hopefully some balance will be reached in the future and governments will not only make companies move, get rid of your to, but also support them in this process. Okay, Paulina, I thought this was very nice. I thought it was lovely, really. It was good. Little things, like little pesky grammar things. I thought you did a very good job of developing. I thought you did a very good job of coherence and cohesion. I definitely have seen a huge improvement in your work. So you should feel good about your writing. Were there pesky little things today that I kept correcting little things consistently? Yeah, they were. Are they enough to lower your score to a point where it's not the score you want? I don't want to say that. I don't necessarily know for sure. I am happy that you've gotten to this word count 368 with your task 1, which was also rather long, at 1 hour. I'm thrilled about that. It makes me really happy. So I think what you need to do now is find a way, maybe with a little more practice. My suggestion would be try to cut down your writing time even more so that you have a couple of minutes to proofread, maybe a couple more minutes, because I know you said you did proofread a little. I'd like to see you possibly proofread a little more so that some of these little things where I was just like, you know, I didn't get that, I didn't understand that, so you could avoid those, okay? Because if you have too many consistent mistakes, it's going to make it harder to get that 7. Okay, out of 7, they are expecting the majority of language to be accurate. There are mistakes here and there, but you don't want a lot of consistent mistakes. Okay, when you see like an essay where there's just like mistakes throughout, then, you know, for an examiner, well, that's a 6. Okay, and when you can't understand it, when you have problems understanding, well, then that's a 5. But no, there's no question about that. You're not there. But my point is I don't want an examiner to think, you know what, there were mistakes throughout this consistently. So that's why I'd like to see you continuing to practice and trying to get your speed under control so you have a little more time to proofread. I thought you did really well. But that's the one thing that maybe I would suggest. I thought your vocabulary was very nice. It was good. No real issues there, just little pesky things. That's it. So basically, Paulina, it's up to you. I mean, if you want to continue working with us, there's essay packages that you can sign up for to, you know, continue working right up to your exam so that you can continue to get feedback. And it's a good idea to keep practicing. I know you said your exam's in 2 weeks, but it is a good idea to keep practicing just to kind of, you know, keep your momentum up since you're getting better with your speed. So maybe that's something you can think about doing. Either way, can you let us know? I'd like to hear from you. I'd like to see, you know, what you decide to do. And of course, when you do take your exam, you know, I'll be dying to hear how it went and of course what score you get. But again, if you do want to sign up for some more essays with us, there should be a link in this email for you to do that. Okay, so just let us know what you decide to do. I want to hear, and I want to wish you good luck. You've been doing great, so keep it up.